G'day guys. Welcome back to Friends, which is much more popular right now than Matt Canada. Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I guess we are live. I think we are live. So much to talk about, Owen. But firstly, what are you feeling? How do you feel as a fan? I feel like I've been thrown into a bus 3 times.
To be honest with you, the overwhelming feeling is that what the hell am I still doing up at this time in the morning, having sat through that?
Yeah, let's address that. So, what time is it right now for Owen? For you being a fan in England, what time is it right now for you in the UK?
The precise time is 4:52 a.m. in the morning.
That's incredible. And would you say that the level of play on the field would deserve your respect to be up at that time?
From some on the defense, yes. From the offense, no.
You can say no in total.
I think, to be honest with you, the defense weren't great today, Mark, but they held a very good Dolphins team under 20 points, and that's a good thing. But the offense this is having a competition with the Denver Broncos to see who can have the worst offense in the NFL.
Do we want to win that? Do we want to win that competition?
We're heading the right direction.
You are right, though, in the second half, and we'll break everything down. We'll go through the QBs and stuff like that, and knee-jerk reactions. It's all knee-jerk reaction. Everyone on YouTube right now, all the YouTubers are going hard in the paint. So if you don't get us now, then we appreciate you listening beyond. We also appreciate a big shout-out to ourselves and to the listeners. I think we're on 1,730 subs, Owen.
Okay,
hey?
That's fantastic.
That's
quality. That's good. And considering we've only been, the syndicate's only been going since what, February?
Yep, February. So I started with Grid or Derek, and then you came along about, I think, 2 months into it, 3 months into it, and here we are being stressed out.
Yeah, I know, man.
Like it is beyond. Like there's not a certain player that can solve this. It's coaching to me. In a big fact, it's the team scored 10 points, and I'm going to bring this up because you just sent me this picture. Where is it? It's an easy one. They've scored 107 points in 7 games. 15.2 points per game is not good enough. And that includes interceptions to get there. That includes field goals. Yet again, we are failing. This is the point we've been calling for Matt Canada's head for a long time. I called it on my live stream. There was one time I said to my friends in my chat in the community, I said, and you might have been there too, I said, Najee Harris, shotgun, run for 2 yards. And what did I see? A Najee Harris run, shotgun for 2 yards. And then they had a shovel pass and then a check down to Najee Harris.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Look at it this way, Mark. I mean, this is, and if you feel this is insulting towards you, I apologize. But if you can see that, right, and you're not an NFL coach, you've never played NFL football in your life, you've never gone through a system or a franchise, you can see that sitting there on the Central Coast in Australia, then I'm telling you something, the Miami Dolphins and every NFL coach on every sideline can see exactly what we're going to do. Now, if as fans we can see that, I guarantee you that next week in Philadelphia, Nick Sirianni can read our offense and tell his defense exactly what's coming next.
Do you know why I saw that? Because at the time, I think it was about the 4th drive in the second half. They went 3 and outs or whatever. They went bad. The reason why I saw that was because we were down by a touchdown or so. You had to aerate the football, and I knew they were going to run, and they do that play all the time. Najee Harris up the middle all the time. It worked once, and the play calling is abysmal. The execution is abysmal. The only time the play calling was fantastic was when they moved the football down the field with Pickens. Now, Kenny Pickett does deserve some blame, right? He does. Okay, he does. However, to me, the overall factor, if you were to label one thing why the Pittsburgh Steelers are struggling, it is Matt Canada. And I'm really sick of it. I made this graphic the other day on my Steeler Nation Australia. Run, pass. And what did we see the very first drive?
Run, pass. You missed something off there though.
Punt.
Run, pass, punt. Run, pass, punt. It's the way it works. And I think, going back to what you said about your live chat, I think someone made a fantastic point in your live chat. I think Matt Canada thinks the way you win games is by punting the ball more than the opposition. I think that's what he.
That was JJ52. He said the more punts you get, the more points you get.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's what irritates me, Mark, and I know it irritates you as well, but you watch this team week after week after week after week, and it's exactly the same.
The same.
No matter who's there, whether you put Mitch Trubisky in there, whether you Kenny Pickett, whether we even went, do you know what? Put Mason Rudolph in there, it will be exactly the same. You will see exactly the same scheme, exactly the same plays, trotted out in exactly the same order, and you will see exactly the same result. Less than 20 points. Punt, run, pass, punt constantly, and it just beggars belief that I don't know, that the organisation can't see that it is not working. And then I've just been listening to Mike Tomlin's press conference, and Dejan Kovacevic asked him about his offense, and Mike Tomlin said that he felt the offense was developing a sense of identity now. Yes, an identity of being the worst in the NFL. Yes, definitely. But if he thinks the offense is working, then I'm sorry, Tomlin's got to go as well as Canada, because if he thinks that's acceptable, then I'm sorry, he's too stupid to be the head coach anymore.
Yeah, there is something that needs to change. I'm kind of sick of seeing the same, roll out to the right hand side and then throw and Pickett on the run to DJ for 5 yards. The only things that worked were Pickens down the sidelines, were Muth in the middle, stuff like that. Everything else did not really work, right? What are your overall thoughts? Let's jump back into some positive. What are some positives first before we absolutely tear them to pieces?
Positive. George Pickens was fantastic again, and he was just brilliant. The touchdown catch was brilliant. I think he was 7 of 7 or whatever, or 6 of 6, whatever his targets to receptions, whatever was thrown his way, he caught. Freiermuth over the middle was great. The defense held the team to under 20 points, the opposition to under 20 points. Now, as a defense, if you're holding an NFL team to under 20 points, you expect to win. That's just the way it is. You expect to win. And yes, I know they dropped 4 interceptions or whatever it was and didn't really get into his face, but they still held Miami to under 20 points. Now, whether that's because Tua was rusty, I don't know, but they still did that. So that's a positive. So there are some positives there from that, but that's it. I'll stop there. I won't turn a positive into a negative.
Yeah, it's super frustrating, and I do put a bit of blame on the defense too. But we came in the second half, out of the gate was yet again 3 and out. To me, the offense lost this game. The defense tried to hang in as best they can. G'day, Alex Mahoney says here. Willis says, I really like. The more and this is more of a spiritual look at it. The more I live this life, we only get 1 year, right? We only get a few years in our life, right? We're gonna waste this under Canada. It's awful. It's beyond terrible. You're right. How can I guess the play? I guessed it exactly the same play. The offensive line had no push. Najee Harris was in shotgun. It was first down on the 25-yard line. The handoff, and I could have guessed many more. Shotgun passes don't work.
Yeah, and this motion, like Noah Strackbing said in that podcast we did before the start of the season with him and Donnie Druin, I think it was. What do you see from the Canada offense? People moving around for no point. And that penalty that hindered them at the end when Pickett got the first down on 3rd and 1, when Miles Boykin was an illegal shift. There was a moment before that as well where it was almost like kids football, where Pickett literally stopped the play, turned around, stood there and went, you go and stand there, you go and stand there, you stand there, you don't move. It was almost like playing elementary school football. for a quarterback to actually have to, in the NFL, stop a play and physically tell receivers where to stand and where to move is a joke. That's what you see with kids playing football, not what you see with millionaires who are. It just absolutely beggars belief that can be allowed.
Training all week, wearing the fancy clothes, getting people like not just picking on Claypool, but guys in his situation getting to like his following, and they show that. It's beyond. It is very embarrassing, and it's almost to the degree if I had the power to link up with 6 million billion fans and say, you know what, we're not going to watch next week. Then what's going to happen then? Then their sales go down. Then what do? They don't care. Yeah. They legit don't care. This team doesn't care. They haven't cared since 2017. They really haven't. And they'll go and shock us next week. They'll go and shock us, and they'll go and beat the Eagles.
Do you know what? I don't think. Do you know what? I think
but you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I 100% get what you're saying, but I just don't think it's possible because I think the Eagles. If the Eagles play as well as they played this season so far, it will be well. I think it's a term you and I understand. Maybe Americans won't, but it'll be a cricket score, won't it, Mark? I mean, it will be an absolute drubbing. It will be just awful.
Back to the pavilion. See you later.
I just, you know what? By the end, you know what? I was sat there. I was sat on the sofa downstairs here in the conservatory, right? And I was watching the game. And by the second half, I'd kind of developed this. I don't actually care. I just actually turned off because I just knew that every time we got the ball back, nothing was going to happen because it was going to be the same rubbish time after time after time. And I'm not being funny. You could put Josh Allen back there, and if Canada's calling the offense, he'd make Josh Allen look rubbish. He really would.
Okay. Do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear what happened in the second half?
Go on.
Okay, here's the play breakdown in the second half. Okay, we come back. It's six. I'm positive. I'm the most positive guy on earth, right? I really am. I try to be, right? I love it. Miami Dolphins 16, Pittsburgh Steelers 10. The Steelers come out there 3 plays -2 yards. Now I can't. I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to go into. Actually, no, we will. Najee Harris up the middle for -1 yard. Kenny Pickett sack for 11. Kenny Pickett short pass to Jalen Warren for 10 yards. See you later. Downs. Next one, punt. They punt there. The next play when they get the offensive ball, 21 yards, 2 minutes. They had a bit of a drive, but the killer was Kenny Pickett short pass to Najee Harris for 2 yards, and they needed 3. They needed 3 yards.
Right? That was something else I didn't understand. And look, I don't profess to know everything about the game, and I know some bits about the X's and O's. I'm not an expert. I'm not a coach. I've never done a coaching qualification in NFL in football. I have got coaching qualifications in other sports, but I don't understand why on 2nd and 23 or on 3rd and 16, why you are dumping the ball off level with the line of scrimmage to try and get 20 yards, 15, 16 yards. Why are you not throwing the ball down the field? And it was just the same again as it was every single week. Now, I watched a bit of the Chiefs versus the Niners game, and the Niners, but the first part of that game, the Niners were dominating the Chiefs. That first part of first quarter, the Niners were ahead. But what changed? Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy adjusted that offense. They let Mahomes take some control of that offense, and they used the weapons they had because they changed things up and did things differently. And that's what the difference was. Whereas today, Canada did absolutely nothing different at all. And you know what?
It hasn't changed in 2 years.
If you sat there, I reckon, and you watched game 1 against the Bengals through to this game today, and you watched the first quarter from each game, and then the second quarter from each game, I reckon there'd be a pattern. There'd be a distinct pattern of plays. If I had time,
you're right. You're right.
If I was sad enough to sit down and actually write first quarter Bengals, these are the plays. First quarter Patriots, these are the plays.
I think they'd be
exactly the same. There'd be the same plays.
You're saying in the same scenario, the first quarter we have run to Najee up the middle. Then we have a receiver screen for second whatever. Then we have a third down. We have a shovel pass. Now I'm going to get back to it because I want to read this out because this is really frustrating. We're not really giving our opinion. We're just stating the facts, right? So they were to punt the Kenny Pickett pass on Najee Harris for 2 yards, with 3rd and 3, which was terrible. Then they got the ball back. So the Dolphins went 3 and out, went 3 yards. They got the ball back and into the third quarter. And here it is. Najee Harris, right guard to 41, 2 yards. Same. Kenny Pickett, 2nd and 8 to Frymouth to the 45, 4 yards. Penalty and a penalty and downfield, a player was ineligible, right? 2nd and 13. Kenny Pickett to DJ for 4 yards, right? That was offensive pass interference, which was not it was a bad call. 2nd and 23. Kenny Pickett to Jalen Warren for 7 yards. 3rd and 16. Scrambles for 1 yard. Punt. The next play, 4 plays, punt. Okay, go on. The next play, the next drive, 3 plays, punt, 6 yards. And then we get an interception from the first one Kenny threw. And then we go down the field, which Kenny should have ran that ball. But by that time, honestly, someone in my chat called Kenny trash, and we're going to address this too. To me, he's not trash. By that time, you had 5 chances. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 chances with the football, and you were moving it down the field, and you couldn't score 1 TD with 5 chances. And to me, that falls on, of course, Mike Tomlin and Matt Canada. Fire him.
But you know, Mark, and as well as I do, and I'm surprised we haven't had this comment in the live chat, it's not the Steeler way. Do you know what? That statement is the most ridiculously stupid statement that anybody can make. It's not the Steeler way. Yes, I know it's not the Steeler way, but it is a stupid statement, and it is a statement about an organization that is stuck in the past, an organization that is stuck running a franchise like they did in the 1970s and thinking that's how it's going to work. Well, I'm sorry, we live in the year 2022 now, not the year 1972 or the year 1982. We live in the year 2022. And if you look at the other 31 franchises in this league, they move with the times. They've modernized, they've updated. And I'm sorry, but this franchise of ours that we love, that we care passionately about, is stuck in 1972, doing things that worked in the 70s. And you know what? If a coordinator is not doing his job, if he is doing that badly that Canada is doing, you sack him. Mark, if it was me or you, and we were going into work and stuffing up every single day, we would not still have a job by the end of that 7th or 8th week. We would be gone. And I'm sorry, if the Steelers are saying, I just don't understand how anyone can say, well, we can't change the coordinator now mid-season because it will knock Kenny's confidence. How can someone better? How could you bring? Who's better to bring in there? Do you know what? I'm not being funny. My dog could call better plays than Matt Canada.
Same every time. It's the same route concepts. Even the guys on my live chat said it was the same outgoing routes. The old, run up for 5 yards, turn right, get the football. The only thing that really worked, in my opinion, for this offense was when Kenny Pickett was he calling his own plays, do you think, near the end? I thought he was.
He may have been. It may have been. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a certain amount of time, isn't there, when the helmet is still on,
It was more up-tempo, though. It was more up-tempo. There were things going on. He was more moving down the field, right? There was more up-tempo. And, yes, he should have ran. He should have ran that football. What are your thoughts about people? Because we had a guy in my chat who was an Eagles fan, and he's high on life right now. But what are your thoughts on people calling Kenny trash? I don't think it's on Kenny. Kenny's doing the best he can.
He's doing the best he can. And what I think a lot of people need to remember about him is he is a rookie, and he is learning the game still. And yes, he is the most pro-ready of all these quarterbacks that have come out of this year's class, because we haven't seen the only one we've seen that's had any success this year has been Bailey Zappi, who's doing a brilliant job, I think, for New England. But he is still learning. He is still a rookie, and he is learning an NFL offense. But the problem is he has got a coordinator who is teaching him, who is just in above his head, has not got a clue what he is doing, and is just, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL. If you've got someone who is new to a job, you give them a mentor who is good at their job to train them up. I don't care what industry it is, whether it's professional sport, whether it's the retail industry, the music industry, the journalism. I don't care what it is, media, whatever it is. If you're new to a job, you put someone with that person to teach them and bring them up to speed who is good at their job. And Matt Canada is not good at his job. And people say, well, it would knock Kenny's confidence changing offensive coordinator. Yeah, because it's working so well at the moment, isn't it?
I got a question for you. If we were to win that game, would you still feel the same way?
Yes.
Me too.
100%. Because it was not good. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. I mean, there's just the offense. There's just, other than Pickens, I thought Claypool played reasonably well again today. I thought Freiermuth did well. Other than that, I just thought it was absolute garbage from minute 1 to minute 60. It was absolute garbage.
Yeah, I just blocked a guy called King Short because he came in here and said, "What the f are you talking about, mate? You know what? We don't need that. We don't need that. You know what? Your first. I'm kind of sick of the trolls that come here and say the first comment. You know, hey, Abby, come and say if we haven't seen your name before, come and say, how's it going, mate? What's going on? Welcome to the show. My name's this guy. You know, I appreciate being here. That kind of stuff. Your first comment, King Short, is what the f are you talking about, mate? You know what? Blocked. You're one viewer. We are trying to build a Steeler community here. That's what we're trying to build, Owen. I don't know about you, but I blocked the guy and we'll never see him again. We'll never. My mate, Pepper. Pepper is amazing. Pepper is fantastic. G'day, Pepper. You're awesome. Every time she comes into the comments, she says, G'day, Sugar. Hello, Sugar. She's fantastic. But a guy like King Short comes in, and you know what? I'm kind of frustrated because you wouldn't say this to my face. He came in and said, what the f are you talking about, mate? Blah, blah, blah. That could be your opinion, but I'm kind of not okay when that's your first, interaction. If I came up to you on the street, Owen, and said, what the f are you talking about, mate? You'd probably punch me.
Probably. But yeah, you're right. Absolutely, you're right. You know what? Look, I want to make one thing clear, Mark, and to everyone who's out there listening, anyone who's listening now or who is listening, who picks this video up at a later date or picks up any of our content at a later date. Look, I am not an expert, okay? I am not an NFL coach. I am not an NFL analyst. I've never played the game to any level, right? Any high level, because I live in the UK, right? But I have an opinion, and I offer that opinion. And you know what? If you want to disagree with me, please feel free to disagree with me.
100%.
But do it in a constructive way that points out why you think I am wrong. Don't come with this, what the F, or you live in England, stick to cricket, or whatever I've had in the past, or, you know, what would you know? You're English. This is an American sport and all this. Don't come with that rubbish. You know what? If you disagree with me, fine, disagree with me, but put a counterpoint. And then if I put a counterpoint to yours, come back with another counterpoint. It's called an adult discussion. Yes. I'm sorry, but there are some people out there, and unfortunately, I think it is on the internet more so than anywhere else, that are what I call keyboard warriors. They can hide behind a screen. They can tap, 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 tap as much as they want. But they tell you something, they haven't got the courage to have a constructive argument with me, and they wouldn't dare say what they say on those comment boards to your face.
You know what the thing is, to me, when they come on the live channel like that, like I just went and blocked him, and he'll never come back to the channel ever. And we're going really well. We have 1,730 subs. We appreciate every single one of you. And we even appreciate the returning viewers. And we appreciate people's opinions. We do. Now, there are guys saying, fire Mike Tomlin. I'm a Mike Tomlin guy. We'll have a discussion, or I'll leave you be. You go and say that because there's a bit of validation towards that. But the minute you say you call me an idiot or whatever, you're gone. You see you later, mate. You see you later. That guy got blocked. He'd be like, "Oh, what? They blocked me?" Yes, we did, because you're a loser. We don't want to hear that stuff. The thing is, they come in there with no respect, right? Come in with some bit of respect and say, "G'day, how's it going?" Actually, I disagree, but they haven't got the mental fortitude to think that. Anyways, Alex Pepper. Oh, that's why I like Pepper. If you disagree, come with the receipts.
I think Alex Mahoney makes a good point as well in the live chat. He says Ben as a veteran was stuck at 3rd and long all season. Kenny as a rookie had no choice but to force the ball, and that's the thing. Like I was trying to say, is that, you know, Ben is someone who had 18 years of experience to draw on. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger, talent-wise, is more talented. Raw talent-wise, in my opinion, is more talented than Tom Brady. Raw talent-wise. But if you look, like I think I've said this on countless videos, if you look at when the Steelers were successful last season, 7 wins out of 9 came in a fourth quarter comeback. And if you watch those fourth quarter comebacks back on the NFL Game Pass, you will see one thing and one thing only in common. The person calling the plays, the person drawing up the plays, is not Matt Canada, it's Ben Roethlisberger. And it's his expertise that actually helped the Steelers to win. And it's his expertise that helped drag that god-awful team into the playoffs last year. What had nothing to do with Matt Canada.
And he backed it up right too, didn't he? I think he said in a recent podcast on football, and he said he backed it up and said, "Well, what's calling plays?" You know? Yeah. This is the point where everyone sees it. Every man and dog sees this offense is struggling. And it's not just the fact that you look at the game tape. Look at the score. Even if you miss the game you scored 10 points. You got a field goal. Who scored that touchdown? I can't remember.
George Pickens.
Oh, that was a good pass. Yeah, that was a good pass.
But what was that? Again, it was a pass, an aggressive pass downfield to George Pickens.
What are your thoughts about the Dante and Kaiser's Marky Mark and Blitz?
That's
all right. I don't mind that name. That's a good name, Owen.
Yeah. That sounds cool, man.
Yeah, Britsburgh, Owen. I like that. You can rebrand, you can retool. He says we're in a rebuild. We're in the beginning. The first step is to fight Canada. 100%. If Mike Tomlin wants to get the pressure off his back, get rid of him. Put someone else in. Surely.
I think you know what? I think he's right to some degree. I don't think it would make us any better just firing Matt Canada, because I don't think Matt Canada is the problem. Well, I think he is the problem, but I don't think he's the whole problem. And I can't, you know, I wish I could remember who this was now to give them some credit for this. But I was reading an article during the week. I've done a lot of sitting around reading articles this week for obvious reasons, but I wish I could remember who it was. But Arthur Motes, that's who it was. He said that Steelers have done coaching and hiring of coaches on the cheap for as long as he can remember. And that is the problem. And when that's coming from someone who actually played inside the organization, actually worked with these guys, and has respect for Coach Tomlin, as Arthur Motes does, he is saying that the Steelers for too long have done it on the cheap. And what's frustrating, Mark, is the fact there is no salary cap for coaches. There is no restriction on what you can spend on coaches. But if you look at it, the Pittsburgh Steelers are constantly doing everything on the cheap, promoting internally. Now, I've worked in a number of industries. I've worked in education, I've worked in retail, and I've worked to a reasonably high I've worked to a high level in all those industries. If you are constantly promoting from within, you don't get any fresh voice. You do not get new blood. You do not get someone who brings different ideas. You get the same stale ideas recycled over and over again, and it leads that organization failing. And I've seen that happen to a lot of organizations. Now, if you look at the Steelers coaching, Terrell Austin was promoted from within. You look at the offense, and let's just look at the offensive coaching staff for a minute. Matt Canada, promoted to offensive coordinator from within. Frisman Jackson came from where? The Carolina Panthers. Look, Carolina Panthers offense. Can you remember a Carolina Panthers offense when you've gone, wow, they're good? What's the guy?
Super Bowl 50 before they went bonkers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What I can't remember what the guy's called now. Pat Mayer, offensive line coach, again from the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. Why are we hiring from a team that has failed season after season after season and has had on record one of the worst offenses and one of the worst lines year on year on year? Isaac Williams, isn't it? David Corley, the guys who are assistant line and assistant QB coaches. These guys have come from college, but not SEC or SEC colleges or Big Ten colleges or colleges like or even the ACC, which is not as good as the Big Ten or as the SEC. They haven't come from these colleges. They've come from little colleges, little schools. again, it's just cheapskate hiring, and you reap what you sow. If you buy cheap, you get rubbish. That's a fact.
You know what, guys? We're going to do a bit of a shorter episode today because we want to try and get people to listen to our podcast. And if we go over about 45 minutes, they won't do it. So, let's take on. What else did you take away from this game, Owen? And we'll start to wrap it up.
What else to take away from this game? Something's got to fundamentally change between now and next Sunday against the Eagles. If something doesn't fundamentally change between now, we are going to be going into the bye at 2-6, and the season is effectively over. Because I cannot see, even with TJ Watt coming back, yes, it'll make the defense even better, but for what purpose? Unless they can hold the opposition under 15 points, it's not going to work, and that's what's worrying me. It really is worrying. And the other thing, Mark, is this team is not. Yeah, you know what? They beat the Bucks last week, and we were all really positive about that. But I'll tell you something. After watching the Bucks today against the Bucks against the Panthers, you know what? Bucks against the Panthers today. Panthers are an awful team. They are an awful team. But the Bucks looked worse than the Panthers today, and that's saying something.
Yeah, and that's PJ Walker as well, at quarterback, doing that kind of style. I'm going to ask you a few more questions, and we will wrap it up in about the next 3 or 4 minutes. How do I want to go back to this? I really do want to go back to the fan perspective. We are a fan channel, and I think I'm gonna keep this. I've been calling out another channel. It's not a fan channel, but they talk rubbish. They chat rubbish because they're losers. Hit Y for yes, hit no for no, whatever you want to do. But as a fan, Owen, how do you feel? Honestly, I feel disgusted.
I feel embarrassed, to be honest with you. It's embarrassing, you know. And the thing is, when you support a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, that historically are a great franchise, and not just a great franchise in the NFL, but one of the greatest franchises in professional sports, because of the success they've had in the past, because of the standards that they've set in the past, because of the players that have set those standards in the past. You know what? Everyone is gunning for you. Everyone is coming after you, and you have a reputation to uphold, don't you? You have a level to a standard, shall we say it? A standard to uphold. And this team are falling so far short of that standard that it is embarrassing as a fan to try and defend them, because you know what? I know we've got the comeback. We've won 6 Super Bowls, but you know what? There's very little comeback for this team at the moment. There's very, very little comeback. Baltimore fans, Cincy fans, clown fans can come on. I just can't say their name properly, and they can have a go at us, and you kind of go, yeah, we are rubbish. it's fact.
I think to me, what I'm feeling now is there's no responsibility. There is no accountability. Like Mike Tomlin, I need to go listen to it again, but I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin was like, "Oh, we're getting better." No, we stink. Like you need to you need to own up and say, you know what, it's my fault, 100%. And Matt Canada, if he does a press, I realized too that Matt Canada's not doing many, or the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't showing many Matt Canada press conferences, right?
So he is still doing one every Thursday, because Dejan Kovacevic talks about it on Daily Shot of Steelers on a Friday.
But it's not going to air.
But I tell you something, you will struggle to find it. The whole press conference, you'll find snippets of it on YouTube or on Steelers.com, but you will not find the whole thing the same way you would find.
I wonder why he'd be hiding. Why would he be hiding in this terrible, terrible, terrible offense?
Because he hasn't. I mean, if you listen to his press conferences, and you just think, Jesus, you do not know what you are talking about. You severely do not know what you are talking about.
It's to the point though, like, I was on my live stream, and you legit, like, you have to. We've said it 5 weeks ago, and you legit have to run out of words. And if you and I were to run out of words, right?
Yeah.
What a boring podcast.
Yeah, and do you know what, Mark? I don't want to come on here on a Sunday and every Sunday at 5:25 in the morning and moan and whinge and whine and go off on one about this. You know, and if anyone from my, I mean, they're all asleep at me, but if anyone from my family came down and listened to me, they'd be like, "What is your problem,
They'd
son?"
be thinking you're mad. They'd be thinking you're talking to ghosts out there.
Yeah, but
No?
they just I just I don't know. I'm starting to lose the ability to think of any words to describe it that I haven't already said.
You can't. I don't know what that feeling is. I don't know what the actual feeling is or the words to describe what we're seeing. They always say it's undescribable or it's indescribable, whatever it is. The fact is, you get to this point of like you have to try and describe something, right?
Yeah.
And you can't. That's the point we get to. That's what I'm trying to get. I really don't know how the Matt Canada offense thinks he's doing okay.
I would, this would never happen because I'd never get to the point where I could do this, but I don't think. But I would love to seriously sit down with Mike Tomlin on a one-to-one basis and ask him, is this offense working? Is this offense getting better? Actually ask him those two questions and not let him give his usual blah, 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 blah that he gives. Ask for a yes or no answer because I'd love to know what he actually thinks. Because if
the only way we get this kind of evidence, this factual evidence, is if you put him through a lie detector test.
Yeah.
Anyway. And we see them like on, Meet the Parents when the needle's going all crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only way we see it.
And do you know what, Mark? I don't think he's got the bottle to sack Canada. I don't think he has got the bottle to sack him, and I think that's part of the problem.
He never does. He doesn't do that. The Tomlin and the Rooneys don't do it. The steal and wait doesn't happen. So, all right, let's do final thoughts. We're going really. It's been a negative episode, but we suck. So, what are your final thoughts, Britsburgh, Owen, and we'll call it.
Do you know what, Mark? I'm going to finish on a positive.
All right.
George Pickens is the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver 1. This guy is different class, and he has the potential to be better than Antonio Brown. He's just different class. I love George Pickens. There you go, positive.
Well, I'm going to finish on a negative because pretty much this is the worst. You know what? No, a negative, but wrapped in cuddles. This is the worst time to be a Pittsburgh. It's true. The worst time to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. However, we have been spoiled. For me, watching Ben since 2004, we have been spoiled. We've been spoiled. And when I say spoiled, we had some good offenses. We played good football. We won some bowls. We won 2. We went to 3. We went to playoffs. We had never had a losing season. And now it feels like the house of cards is falling apart. There is no foundation. There is no respect. There is no culture. The defense plays last week with secondary players. They turn up with starters and play worse, right? The offense looks exactly the same. If an Australian living in Central Coast, New South Wales, can call a play or call many plays the same, then you're in trouble. The defense already knows what's going to happen, and they're bringing down 8 in the box to take care of you. The Matt Canada offense is lazy. It's not creative. It does not represent anything that should be in the NFL. He needs to be sacked today or tomorrow, and we move on.
One question for you, Mark. One question. Ben Roethlisberger is the quarterback today. In that fourth quarter, do the Steelers win the game?
Yeah, I think so.
Agreed.
He had 6 drives.
I'm talking 2021 Ben as well. I'm not talking.
Yeah, no. I agree. I agree. He had 6 drives to win that game because he would have told Matt Canada to F off and do his own thing. He would have got the plays and said, "You know what? You're upstairs. You can see me, but I don't care." And he would have drawn it up by the way he did, because he didn't want to. He didn't want his career to be go down the drain like it did, and it kind of did a little bit. It was never Ben's fault. It was Matt Canada's fault. The offense is poor. And then here we get to the same point. How do I express the ability to let the viewers know how we feel? And you can't. The only way you can express the ability of how I feel right now is if I were to get up and run into the wall next to me 3 times in a row.
Well, do you know what? Einstein once said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Matt Canada is insane. It's official.
Yep, I agree. Anyways, guys, we're going to leave it on that because we are going to rip him apart this week. We're going to break down stats. We're going to break down videos. We're going to break down plays. We're going to break down his incompetence. We're going to break down everything. Now, of course, it goes on the players. But overall, it starts with him. Tomlin, him, that's it. To me.
Yeah, agreed.
Owen, thank you, mate, for coming on the show and saying hello. And a big respect to you for being up at 5 a.m. All right.
Do you know what?
What's that?
Oh my God, have we seen that? We've been spammed.
Yeah. See, that's crazy. All right, guys, I'll block that guy.
Okay, man.
He's out of here. All right, guys, thank you for checking out the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. You know what? That guy can say that, right? Big Mike can say these things and yada, 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 yada. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're having a good time. We're having a great time. That guy's a loser. And we'll be back here, tomorrow, the next day or whatever. The old internet troll. I guess the bigger we get, Owen, the more trolls we get too. But we appreciate Randy. We appreciate Alex. We appreciate Pepper. We appreciate every single one of you. Hold on. Ooh, what's going on? Do Yins know Pittsburghese? Yeah, we know Yins.
Yeah, we know some Pittsburghese, Randy.
Yeah, well, that's when they put the chair out, right? Hey, there you go. And our mate, Gridiron Blitz. Oh, we're not as bad as the Lions, but still it hurts. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. And Derek's probably like thinking, hey, come to the club.
Do you know what, though? I'll tell you something. We're not as bad as the Lions have got a better offense than us.
They do. They do.
I think I said to Grid earlier, I said, if you put the Steelers defense with the Lions offense, you'd actually have quite a decent team.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We are in Struggle Street. Anyways, guys, I'll see you later. Thank you for checking out Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. And as always, here we go, Steelers. Here we